Oh yeah, man. Look at the lookers and see what they're doing. Sunshine face, sunshine face, sunshine face, sunshine face. Oh yes. Take what you want, take what you got. Let me have it. Oh, you're gonna have it all right. And you're gonna see. Oh, when the sunshine fades. Take it away, boy. Sunshine, sunshine fades.
Good morning. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, men and women, let's take a short break before we start.
You're like a circle that floats around me, keeping me safe and sound. And when I fall, you tied a rope to me. You're blessing me every day. I was down with an illusion, like a sparrow with broken wings, but now I shine with your reflection on me.
Well, good morning, and let's get back into my lesson. Today is December the 2nd. I'm going to start my show in a different way this morning because as I've been having my show, many of my friends in the African American communities have been calling me, asking me questions about Liberia, showing concerns about the situation in our country. So among those people is also my wife, Dean Karen McLaurin Chesson, former Associate Dean at Brown University and former Director of the Third World Center, now the Center for Students of Color. So before I bring on my wife, I just want to state briefly some of the things people have been asking about and being concerned about. What's happening in Liberia? What's the situation with the election? The problems in my country? Because they're hearing all these news coming out of Liberia, and many times they go and watch my show, they get the gist of it, but when they listen to Facebook or my pages, they have a hard time understanding some of the issues. When the people are talking, we talk a little fast, and sometimes African Americans cannot really grasp what we are saying. So this morning, I'm inviting my wife on, Karen, so we can talk and I get some of the questions that she and other African Americans have with the issues in Liberia. So let me welcome Karen.
Hey,
Good morning,
Rodney.
Karen. Karen, you got to fix your screen so you can come in the middle. Yes.
Yes, I got
Switch
it.
it some more.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How you doing?
Yes, yeah, I know you've been listening to me in the back there.
Yes.
And I know you have questions.
Well, you know something, I guess on the
Let me put
election.
on my headset so I can hear you well.
Okay.
Talk
On
to me.
on the election front, um, I know how intense it has been. And particularly, I have a question for you about the candidate that um, Darius Dillon. Uh, could you just let um, our viewers know uh, a little bit about his history, and why he is postured to be the best candidate for the Maserati County?
Well, that is. Let me take off this because I keep hearing this echo. So, Darius Abraham Darius Dillon is a member of one of the parties in Liberia, one of the opposition parties called Liberty Party.
Okay.
This was a party that was started by one of our former senators, who is a permanent Liberian lawyer. He was called Charles Bromsky. He was my teacher in law school, as a matter of fact. He taught me commercial law.
Oh,
So he founded this party, Liberty Party, and he was with Charles Taylor. He was one of Charles Taylor's supreme and senators. So after that, after the Charles Taylor regime, he started his Liberty Party, and Darius Dillon was part of that party. Darius Dillon is a well-known figure in Liberian political arena. He's traveled with Ellen Johnson Sirleaf all over. He was member of the Liberty Party with um, Charles Bromsky. So after Bromsky died, the party continues.
okay.
And to maintain its survival, because with George Weah being the strongest political figure in Liberia, there was no one political party that could challenge him and win successfully, or successfully even challenge him.
Okay.
So the four main political parties in Liberia, which are the All Liberian Party, ALP, the Unity Party, the Liberty Party, and the ANC, or Alternative National Congress, which
Okay.
is, okay, ANC is headed by Cummings. Um, Liberty Party, I don't know who their chairman is, but right now, Dillon is the most prominent figure out of that party. Unity Party headed by Joseph Boyka, who was Ellen Johnson Sirleaf's vice
Vice
president,
President, yeah.
and he took over the party, and Ellen deserted them and appointed and recognized George Weah, who is from the CDC party. That's the that's the party that's in power now.
Okay.
But the last party is ALP, whose leader is Benin Yuri. So you have these four parties going against George Weah party, the CDC.
Okay.
Darren Dillon is from Liberty Party, and they join with these other three parties. They form a coalition to fight George Weah CDC, because we, in group is strength, in
Mm,
unity is strength. So they brought these four parties together. Now, Darius Dillon ran for the party last year for the senatorial position, the bi-senatorial position. The senator of Masorado County died.
When?
And
When?
before Darius Dillon, that's the lady Darius Lena replaced.
Okay.
She died. She was from the CDC, I think.
Okay.
So after she died, there was a year or something left on her term. So they had to have an election to fill out that spot. And that's what Dara Dillon won.
Okay.
And he's from the Liberty Party, and it was a shock to the CDC that has the majority of the party, the people in, they think they have the majority of the people in Masorado County that Derek Dillon is running from. And Masorado is very important because that's the seat of political power in Liberia. So just like Washington, D.C. in America, where
Yes.
everybody want to be in Washington, D.C. to be around the seat of power.
And actually, it is the seat of power. That's where many government offices are in Monrovia.
Yes. So everybody comes to Monrovia. Everybody want to come to the head political center. Mm-hmm. So I think Monrovia has 35 to 40% of Liberia's population centered in Monrovia alone. And the others are divided throughout the 15 counties. So although there are 3 counties who are running for senatorial by-election, Masorado is the most important because of the political seat. And that's where the president is. And that's where the majority of the citizens are, congested in one place. So that what makes Darren Dillon election so important. So by winning the by-election, he displaced the president and his party from the leadership in the legislature representing Masorado County.
Okay. Got it.
So it is a significant, now his term is finishing. And he had to run for the full term of legislature. The legislature term is 9 years per term. So he only served for 1 year, completing that senator's term. Now his term ending this year. And if he wants to be senator again for 9 years, he's running in December on the ticket in December 8th.
Next week?
Next week. So if he wins, he will be in the Senate for 9 years.
Okay.
And Darius Dillon is one of the most educated people in Liberia right now. Remember, our country has 95% illiterate. And Darius Dillon is among the 5% literate. And other than 5%, there may be 4.999% corrupt people. So that's why they call Darius Dillon the light. Because for the first year he stayed in the House of Representatives, in the Senate, he refused to take the $15,000 salary that the senators get. Liberia is the poorest nation. The citizens have no food, no job, nothing, and the senators are getting paid $15,000 a month. And Darius Dillon is one of the senators to call them on the carpet and say this amount is too much. $5,000 enough for us. The rest of the money should go back to the county you represent.
Right.
So he took that bold step and he did it. His first check he got, he donated almost $12,000 back to the county.
Now that's a patriot.
Yes. So this is the guy people are looking to as a prospect and future hope of our government, because he's the only one bringing to light the failures, the discrepancies,
Mm-hmm.
the ignorance, the uneducated
Mm-hmm.
thinking of the legislature. And they got
Wow.
plenty of them in there.
Yes.
And right now in Liberia, there's a crisis between the election commissioner, the election commission,
Okay.
the political parties,
Mm-hmm.
the ruling parties, the court. So that's where we are.
Wow. Well, that's pretty. That's quite a big deal. I mean, it sounds to me that if and when Darius gets that seat, he's going to make a difference for the people of Liberia
Well, we hope it does.
and hopefully be able to garner some support enough to uh, influence the minds of the thieves and the people who are stealing from the country. And quite frankly, 15,000 a month. It just sounds so decadent for one person to make that kind of money
In a poor country
in the poorest country in the nation,
in the world.
in the world,
Yep.
you know. So, well, I hope that he manages to uh, fight the power
Yeah.
and make a difference, get that position and get in there. And hopefully he'll be able to garner a team of people who are like-minded and who will also bring different assets to the country.
Yeah.
So,
But before you ask your second question, I want to tell my viewers that I thank you very much, Karen, for waking up early this morning to be in the show with me. I know it can be
pleasure.
tough for you when you got to do things on your own. And
Mhm.
Karen is completing her book right now. So it's a task when she got to work on her stuff and wake up to talk on the show this morning. I want to thank you. Go ahead
Well,
with your questions.
all right. Another thing, hypothetically, if we can talk about a hypothetical, say Darius gets in, then what?
Then he becomes senator
Yes,
for
but
9 years.
he's only one man. And doesn't he need to garner the support of the other people?
Yeah, well, he does, but it doesn't take a room to make changes.
Okay.
That's why they call him the light, because when he raises the issues that the legislator may be ignorant of, may not be educated enough to envision the ramifications or different aspects of this ruling,
Mm,
he's there to point it out, say, hey, wait, like he did with his salary. Now
mm.
he's telling his fellow legislator, no, this ain't right. This money too much. They're
Yes.
getting $2,000 for gas. They're getting $10,000 for what do you call it? Um, Personal special allotment. All of that special allotment, they're getting 3,000 for reimbursement for travel. They got new car. They got $40,000 car, free gas, free allotment, $10,000. They're in the allotment. They're giving them 3,000 back for travel reimbursement. So where the reimbursement coming from? For what? You got car, you got free car, you got gas. You're not paying to travel anywhere else. So why are you getting travel reimbursement in the
Mm-hmm.
amount of $3,000?
Mm, mm, mm.
Then free gas for $2,000 every month.
Now
People
this
need
is
it.
on top of the 15,000.
No, that all of that were in the 15,000. The
Okay.
actual salary is 29,000 Liberian dollars. We may be about 3,000, 4,000, between 3 and 5.
Okay.
That the
It's
real salary.
all the perks add up to
Yeah, then the
15.
perks, the $10,000 and special allotment for reimbursement for gas and transportation.
Mm,
For gas, 2,000. Then
mm.
they getting 40,000. That beside the 40,000 other car they getting now.
Oh.
They getting free 40,000 car for their positions. Then they
Mm.
getting 15,000 on top of that
Wow.
every month.
That
5,000 salary and 10,000 perks.
mm, mm, mm.
So here is the poorest nation. Majority of our people now working. Majority are no school. The government has no money to provide education for the masses of the children.
Mm,
COVID-19, there were COVID-19 relief, it disappeared.
mm,
All the money keeps disappearing.
mm, mm,
That disappeared. They had $25 million to mop up the old money and bring in new Liberian dollar. They used 25 US million to do that. They can't account for that.
mm.
16 billion Liberian dollars, they can't account for that. So we have a government that is totally inept, and besides that, a complete
Unaccountable.
stealing machine.
Mm, mm. So the government's been stealing all this money, and now that the public, obviously, Darius has educated the people on the abuses of the government.
Yes.
And, you know, I see why they call him the light.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
besides that, of recent, in the past 2, 3 months, the murder rate, ritualistic killings, opposition killings, public killings has tripled because everybody looking for position and they believe in voodoo
Mm,
and witchcraft. So they need body parts
mm.
and they need young children, old people, anybody they can get to kill. So
That's
people just getting killed. They just shot one of the police commanders in the back. They say he shot himself. Now everybody know that it was another police who shot him because of grievances.
mm.
And these are all the things going on because of this electoral process. Dylan got stoned. No, not Dylan. Dylan party chairman got stoned in another part of the country going to visit.
Wow.
So all these things going on, and stoning people is becoming common practice in the Liberian society now. So any people you go out, you might be stoned.
Mm, mm, mm.
So these are the crises we're facing right now.
So, this man is going to have a lot on his shoulders. So, he's going to need all the help he can get. I hope you'll be able to help him.
Well, we're promoting him, but one
Yeah.
of the things is a lot of Liberians across the world are tired with the stealing, tired with the killing, tired with the disappearances of people
Mm-hmm.
that you can't find today, and tired with the auditors. We have 4 auditors that were killed because they were auditing the corruption in the country and the missing money that they gave us for COVID-19, the
Mm-hmm.
supplemental fund where everybody in Liberia was able to get at least something to survive,
Yes.
cash. Every
Yeah.
individual was supposed to receive a certain amount of cash to help them throughout this COVID period. All of
Yeah.
that money disappear. They can't
Mm.
account for it. So that's what the auditors were auditing. And they have proof that their money had been mismanaged and used inappropriately by the WIA government.
Mm.
So
Mm.
they killed all these auditors in one week got rid of all of them. Now, the autopsy showed that two of them had died from carbon monoxide poisoning because they found
What?
them in their cars. Yeah, and the very time they found them, without any evidence, the president came out and said they were boyfriend and girlfriend.
Mm,
Without any evidence, any investigation, now it has come out to prove otherwise, that they were not boyfriend and girlfriend,
mm,
that they were called out with their computers to do some work, and they disappeared and could not be heard from their family until they were found in the street in a parked car with the window wind up and it full of carbon monoxide. They died from carbon monoxide poisoning. Now the other auditor, the auditor general, Emmanuel Nyenswa. Oh yes, that your girl husband.
mm,
Because Karen is a volunteer with Sunrise Forever, a program that is headed by Alice Howard, who is a
mhm.
sister-in-law to Emmanuel Bate Nyanswa. So we do know Nyanswa them too, and we know the family. So Karen is close with Alice, and that's how all these things. He got killed. His death was questionable, and it's so sad that these people are killing these young people who are patriots to our country. There
Yes.
another auditor from Butu died in his car from an accident. They say he hit the wall or something, and people know it's not true. So all of these things going on in Liberia now, that our country is in a turmoil and a crisis.
Mm. Well, hopefully, as time moves along, uh, by your efforts and advocating for Darius, you'll be able to make a difference
We
and
hope.
at least educate the people on the issues.
Okay, Karen,
So,
got any more questions?
no, that's it. That's it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to extend my thanks and appreciation to Karen McLaurin Chesson, former Associate Dean of Brown University and former Director of the Third World Center, which is now Brown's Center for
Center for
Students
Students
of
of
Color.
Color.
Thank you
Okay.
again, Karen, and thank you for waking up this early to address your community, which is the African American community, of what is happening in the Liberian community. Thank you.
Thank you, Rodney.
Okay. Have a good morning.
You too, dear.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was my wife, Karen McLaurin Chesson. I thank her very much. And now that we've done with that part of my lesson, let me get my second part of my lesson, Crisis in Liberia. And the third part of my lesson would be which way Liberia's President George Weah and Vice President Jewel Howard Taylor. Crisis in Liberia, crisis in Liberia. Let's get it on. This morning, I got up and I was listening to Francis Dole. We have a lot of activists that come on and come with their news of what's happening in Liberia. All of this secret news they have to do with things coming out of the security agencies, coming out of the president's office. You know, Liberia is a little small country. Everybody related to everybody. Many people know each other. So any of the thing that goes on usually spreads and leaks from one place to the other. So this is where we are today. Francis Dole was telling us how people are using the Q-tips or the the thing you put under your nose, the Q-tip, the long Q-tips that you put in your nose to do the testing. They say instead of disposing of those things, in Liberia, people are taking them and setting them aside. So all the people who have COVID-19, they set their things aside so they can use it against people in the community to infect people with COVID-19. Francis Doe said he heard this from the security agency, from the health workers who do these testing. Nothing hides in Liberia. And they say they tried it. What they do, they take the cube, the tip that they are already stuck in people's noses. The ones who have COVID-19, they put them aside and they're beginning to sell those things now so people can use them as weapons to give other people COVID-19 they don't like. Nothing is impossible in Liberia. Nothing is impossible in Liberia. Anything is possible. Those people could be selling that thing. And you can imagine the nasty thing. You put that thing in somebody's nose. The person is tested positive. Then you take that same thing and rub it on people's skin so they can get infected with COVID-19 too. They say they did it to Snow, but they didn't rub it on his skin. They rub it on his suit. And they declared him positive. So they can just go around declaring anybody they want to declare positive in Liberia positive. Now they say they got a plan for Darius Dillon to rub that thing on him so he can test positive and be forced out of the electoral process. Whether it's true or not, Darius Dillon, take care of yourself. Whether it's true or not, Darius Dillon, take care of yourself. In Liberia, where there is smoke, there is fire. Where there is smoke, there is fire. These are the ills in our society that need to be stopped. These are the evils in our society that must be eliminated by sound thinking leaders of our society. Sound thinking societal leaders, not only political leaders, societal leaders that will set standards in our society to raise the consciousness of our people, to raise the alertness of our people. So when you see the people doing these things, wicked things, you can report them. Let's jail them and punish them. Let's set examples in our country that will last for years. And these are the things we got to do. Our country is so bad off now. Our country has reached a state of uncivilization that we must understand where our people are headed to. We got to understand all these things. You know? Now, they're talking about our election again. And everybody you hear talking about it, you hear Prophet Key, you hear Francis Doe, because those are the two people that really dig for information for us. I don't care what you say about Prophet Key. I don't listen to him for his cussing. I don't listen for nothing else but the information he got coming out of Liberia. All of us frustrated with our country. All of us tired. When some people tell you these things are not right, these things are wrong, these things do not benefit our country, and you keep doing it again, over and over again, then you elect a president that has no love for our country. He has no sound thinking faculties. He come there with the same mentality of stealing, and try to put his will over the will of the Liberian people against the Constitution and laws of the Republic of Liberia. Walker stated all of these things that I mentioned, turning our police into partisan, training militants and things for the CDC to go against innocent Liberian people who want their right to exercise their voting rights. How long will we go through this kind of thing? Now everybody has told us that during this election, they are planning diversionary schemes to divert the Liberian people in order to put false ballots into the ballot boxes. As the people are running and scared, the new police people who are CDC partisans today will sit there and look the other way as CDC partisans come and fill up the ballot boxes with false ballots. Does that make sense? Is CPP going to sit down and let these things happen? All of this involves Liberia's national security, the peace and safety of our country. This is a challenge to true Liberian patriots. Are we going to let what our fathers and mothers died for in 14 years of civil war? Everything our people died for a true democratic system that will empower us with the rights to vote for who we want to be our leaders. Is this the system we died for? Is this the system that will let the same True party, the same Congo people, the same Congo people turn Congo people come in our country and continue the same evil ways, worse than the old regime? People killing our people openly, and the government don't have a word to say. People accusing the president of Liberia of being involved in ritualistic killings, and he has nothing to say to it. Then you'll say the Congo people wicked. Let's compare the people government with the new government now. What happening with our country? What happening with our country? That what we need the light. And my wife just said, is Darren Dillon, will Darren Dillon be the only one to stand up for Liberian people? He's not the only one, but he's the beginning. He's the start to enlightening Liberian people. There's something wrong in our country. Something wrong with our leaders, especially our lawmakers. This is not a system democracy we are living under. This is not the system that Liberian people died for 14 years of civil war for. And you're coming to sit down young children, the thing your father and mothers died for, the thing they killed you and ripped your people for, you're coming to give it away to a fucking preacher and not to Liberia. You're coming to give it away to a fucking preacher and not the Republic of Liberia. You're ready to die again in war like your parents did because people will come to free Liberia. You can't go on with this. So all your munya and Soviet, you better be ready to fight and die like your mothers and father fought and died and got raped, because we'll go back into the situation if you all continue to put the fucking preacher over the laws and people of Republic of Liberia. If you all continue to do this, we're going back into war. There is no way under the sun can such things change. How will it change, man? How will it change? The stealing gotten worse. The misappropriation, the mismanagement, the incompetence is totally high. It's too high in our government. The tribalism, the division. I listened to Lofa Julius this morning. I listened to him. And he was talking about the same thing. The hate, the distrust. Where we going with this thing? The division. this unity, this integration, all these things in our country. Why? Because you want to know where tribe are from. Does it matter? Does it lead Liberia to better pastures? Where tribe are from? I'm a Congo man. So what? What can you do? I'm a Congo man. Where can you challenge me? Where can you challenge me? This is the crisis in Liberia. This is the crisis in Liberia. Our system is so corrupt. Our nurses and doctors need money. And these people will do anything for money. When you got people not getting paid, and only the 1% of the government people getting paid in the country $15,000 of the people money, is that justice? Is that liberty? Above all, is that freedom for all? A little stealing for some, for the fuckies. We can't go on this way. We can't go on this way. Let me wet my whistle before I get into my last topic. Because every time I talk about Liberia and see how our people are so blind to the ignorant killing, the useless stealing, and the arrogance of these useless people when they're caught with their stealing and their uselessness. Let's pray to God for Liberia.
You're like a circle that floats around me, keeping me safe and sound. And when I fall, you tied a rope to me. You're blessing me every day. I was down with an illusion, like a sparrow with broken wings, but now I shine.
Well, let's get back to my final topic. Which way Liberia's President George Weah and Vice President Joel Howard, amidst the numerous crises going on in our country, added to it is the fuss that's going on between the President of Liberia and the Vice President of Liberia. Similar to the CPP, the CDC is a coalition of Charles Taylor's party, of, I think it's Elliot Tyler too. Is he in that group too? Elliot Tyler party and George Weah's party. So they came together. George Weah party was the original CDC. So instead of saying the Congress for Democratic Change, as the name of George Weah party is, they named it the Coalition for Democratic Change or something like that, CDC. So you have this coalition. And in that coalition, they too are having some serious problems and issues. And it's so screwed up. It's screwed up. The vice president and the vice president, the president and the vice president are lovers. They are bad mates. The president and vice president have opposite views on running the country. And you can't do that. You're either a party or not a party. So it's the same thing CPP is going through and fighting with, CDC is going through. So the leadership of the Republic of Liberia is in a total mess. Now here we are. I saw on Lofa Junior's show where George Weah was in Bond County recently telling the people of his candidate and how other people in the party supporting other candidates. And it is known to the Liberian people that George Weah is supporting one fella up there, and Jewel Howard is supporting another candidate from the opposition party. Now, this is asinine. I don't know why the people in the parties, one party will start supporting different people. Jewel Howard going under her party line and supporting the opposition. So right there's a conflict. And now George Weah is hinting indirectly in Jewel Howard's own stronghold, Bunk County, that if she can't hang with the party, she must leave. And that is right. He's claiming that his party is in the majority. And this here is a clear and present threat to the vice president of Liberia. Because we know when they start fighting, it might end to death or destruction or violence. So this is a clear indication of the massive trouble facing Liberia and Liberian people. This is the massive problem facing us. So if the president and the vice president are at knuckleheads, knucklehead, whatever it is, what is the condition and situation of the West African Republic of Liberia? What is the condition of our country and people? Where do we stand when our whole country is in a state of disarray? And Dylan, amidst all of this, Dylan's popularity is growing and has grown because Liberians are tired with all this childish leadership. We are tired with all this childish leadership. We are tired with the young children of Liberia who have not gone to school and are still not in school, wanting to determine the political destiny of the Republic of Liberia. We can't continue to go through this. We need a better system of identification for our youth, for our politicians, for our schools, and everything. Liberia has to come out of the 1960s and into the 1990s. We're not even into the 1990s yet. We're not even into the 2000s yet. We're going so far back. How do we identify these children in our schools? Our driver licenses cannot be relied upon. What can we rely on in the Liberian system that is secure and safe? That we can comfort our country can do better. Our leaders and people can do better. I need financial support, okay? My Cash App thing is here. I need support. This thing I'm doing is for all of us. People scared to come on my show, like they're scared to go on other shows. Because we are addressing strong issues in our country that only strong men and women can handle. I don't search for things. I know what I'm talking. I know where they're coming from. So I don't beat around the bush. I hit it straight on the head. And I deal with analytical thinking. So when people come on my show, you know I'm listening to you. You know if you got to be challenged, you will be challenged. And some people can't stand the challenges because not everybody is called. Not everybody is chosen. They say many They didn't say all. Aluta! Continua. Ladies and gentlemen, young boys and girls, our future, the future of our children, the future of Liberia, the future of our progress and advancement hang in the balance. We have to choose. Do we want good leadership, or do we want to continue to view ignorance, incompetence, and stealing as the profound way of leadership in Liberia? George Weah is a legend in Liberia soccer. He's not a legend in the leadership of our country. We need leaders that would think of the people of Liberia and not of themselves and their bodies and their tribes and their associates. We need people who will care for our youth, not to use them as political instrumentalities to advancing your stay in power. When you love our children, you will now want to use our children in that way. You will want to protect their ages and let them grow to understand that they cannot be manipulated foolishly. The same thing that happened to our children in the Civil War, that they made all of them child soldiers, the same thing happened again. But they're not child soldiers with guns. They are child soldiers for political thieves and bandits. How long will we use our children as political and military instrumentalities of the evil leaders, families, and parents in our society? Parents and families are evil to their own people. For their own personal gains, they will sell their children. They will turn them into animals. And they will have no ideal of the fact that these children have the opportunity to set their own future, their own goals, and their own directions in this world. Not only in Liberia, in the world. Attorney Commander J.R. Galpohkpa Chesson of the West African Republic of Liberia's class is done. My young children, like I always tell you all, I can take you to the well, but I am not going to force you to drink from the well of living water. The time of the Liberian people is now. Stay alert, stay alive. Have a good day.